Jackson on the drive, kicks it out for man. Man, three-pointer, bang! Oh, what a man!
Magic down the middle, just what I thought. A hook shot at 12, good!
Here's Michael at the foul line, a shot on Elo, good!
The Bulls win! They win it!
Now there's a steal by Murray, underneath the DJ, going up over Bell, ball away, yes! Yes! At the buzzer, he does it! Was there ever a doubt? A Smith screen, Posey will defend.
Oh! LeBron James with no regard for human life!
It's a physical game.
Oh, me, oh, my! A monster jam by Blake Griffin!
Woo-hoo-wee! Oh my goodness. I think we may need an encore for a second on that one.
Jackson on the drive, kicks it out for man. And three-pointer, bang! Oh, what a man!
Ooh, we'll throw some Lakers in there.
Here's Michael at the foul line, a shot on Elo, good!
The Bulls win! They win it!
Come in, everybody. Laker fans, this is a safe space. Clipper fans, this is a fun space.
Fall away. Yes, at the buzzer, he does it. Is there ever a doubt?
Ooh, let's end it there. What's going on? What's going on, guys? Welcome to another post-game live here in the 2022-23 season on Dime Dropper. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe on YouTube for all LA sports, especially LA basketball, NBA history content. The playoffs are coming up, so you know I'm going to be going live after every single night of games. So you already know what to do. Subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know every single time I go live. Keep commenting and keep sending messages in the chat. We are live right now on this beautiful Wednesday night in Los Angeles, where we have just witnessed the biggest game, in my opinion, in the history of the Clippers and Lakers in Los Angeles together, playing each other. The game with the most riding on it. Even bigger than the 92 game for the Lakers to make the playoffs. Even bigger than the 2012 who's going to win the season series game where Andrew Bynum cooked us. And even bigger than Kawhi and Anthony Davis' first games with their respective LA teams. This one was big. Lakers and the Clippers had the same record going into this game, 41-38. A win basically puts one in the playoff and one in the play-in unless unforeseen circumstances occur in the final two games. But the Clippers had the tiebreaker going into this game over the Lakers regardless. And you know what? It's nice to say we got the brooms out yet again for our across the hall friends over there. Some people, obviously we do Laker content here on Dime Dropper, and, my family is a lot of Laker fans, so I don't have the same hatred for them as a lot of Clipper fans do, majority of Clipper fans do. I have some great Laker fans. Obviously, so many of you guys listen to this are Laker fans, so respect as always. It's not a big deal to me. It's regular season now. If you played in the playoffs, that's a different level. Or the play-in even, that's a different level. But these regular season games don't do much for me. However, this one was a big one. Didn't matter if we were playing the Lakers, we were playing the Jazz, the trash. Don't matter. We had to take care of business, and we did. And it was an electric game. It was an electric atmosphere. It sounded like I've heard about 60% Laker fans in the building in this one. And of course, the big storyline, Russell Westbrook playing against the Lakers for the first time since all the shit had gone down. And clearly he felt the type of way, as you'd expect tonight in this game, pointing to LeBron James after certain things went well for the Clippers and did not go quite well for one LeBron James. And I'll say this about before I say anything else, remember, you can also find this on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and you better look at the bottom if you're watching this video and follow me. Even if you can't see it, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Dime Dropper Pod. I still don't really post on TikTok much, but follow me, because if you follow me, maybe I'll be more inclined to post. So let's get right into it. By the way, Eric Gordon back in the starting lineup for us tonight, that was big time. And given the Utah trash, finally did something fucking good for once. And I talked about the Lakers' last 4 wins. By the way, we broke the Lakers' 4-game winning streak, so that's something to be proud of as well. They were playing good ball. If you don't want to know what I'm thinking about the Lakers recently, check out my video from last night. It's almost at 1,000 views. about the Lakers in the last 4 games, but we knew after the trash finally did something good for once, took them to OT, that we would have an upper hand tonight. And having 3 days rest, all I wanted to see was the Clippers start the game well. I wanted to see them come out with a sense of urgency and be the more aggressive team on both ends of the floor, and that's precisely what they did. And it was a tale of 2 halves for this guy, but the first half where we needed a start, Russell Westbrook set the tone. Goat Brook. I mean, I felt so happy for him tonight, man. So happy for him because, I was honestly surprised that the Laker contingent of the crowd was not booing him on every touch. I thought it would get that nasty and they would be, just screaming at him to shoot all the time. And maybe they were, but it wasn't loud enough to really hear on TV. Let's put it that way. And Russ was being guarded by LeBron to start the game. And LeBron was basically not guarding him, as you knew they do. They would bait him into shooting. And Russ hit 2 threes and a pull-up mid-range and pointed right at LeBron when he hit him. I mean, those were really satisfying moments. And I thought LeBron was, talk about a tale of 2 halves. He looked like a completely different player in the 2 halves. In the first half, he looked like Jabroni Lames. And in the second one, he was LeGod. But maybe that's excessive. But he was really, really good. Really good. The first half, this dude was just sitting around on defense, just basically, just doing nothing, honestly. We just knew that people could drive by him, or he wasn't going to guard shooters. He wasn't going to close out. And Russ set the tone for the Clippers, but you need guys to knock down those shots. And I kept saying that the Clipper role players, they needed to have a big night from 3. And by the way, Marcus Morris was out with lower back spasms. He was sitting on the bench, but he wasn't playing. I'm still skeptical of everything. I really am. But at least he was there sitting on the bench. Not in uniform, though. But, hey, I'm down for that. Marcus is on the roster. I'm cool with it because, if we do end up going far in the playoffs, it'll be nice to have Marcus on the team because I like Marcus. I love senior. He's still had some good years for the Clippers. He just shouldn't be playing. But Eric Gordon, 3 threes in the first quarter. Those were big to set the tone. Nicholas Batum also hit one. And again, having Nico starting makes such a difference. Having a guy, and this is exactly the argument that all us Clipper fans make, and especially I try to make for Nicholas Batum over Marcus Morris. Nico went 1 for 7 in this game. But just like many players that do the little things in basketball, you can go 1 for 7 and still have a positive impact on the game. And that's exactly what Nicholas Batum did in this one. He was great defending at the point of attack. His shot contests are fantastic. It feels like guys miss so much when he's the guy putting the hand up. Smart player, obviously, just makes the collective team IQ higher, moves the ball quickly. And the shots that he misses, they're just open shots. He takes the right shots for the most part, maybe 1 or 2 shots. I remember one shot that was a little bit rushed from 3-point range. But overall, I love the way he played. He's actually getting over screens. And there are certain things that just don't show up on the stat sheet, like guys not shooting when Nico Batum is on their hip because they think they're going to get blocked. And they probably will. That doesn't show up on the stat sheet. That doesn't, you don't get anything about like a stat about the field goal percentage when you're guarding somebody because they're not shooting the shot. That's why I say all those stats are a little bit bullshit to me. But great first quarter for the Clippers, and LeBron was atrocious offensively as well in the first quarter, just throwing the ball away left and right, missing every jump shot. And I knew it was going to be a jump shot heavy game from LeBron, given that he had, played so well closing out the game against Utah last night. But AD, this was also an interesting thing. Ty Lue said that he wasn't going to double Anthony Davis, but he totally bluffed. I did say there was a chance of that. If you listen to my Locked On Clippers episode, and by the way, please subscribe to Locked On Clippers. Even if you're not a Clipper fan, it would mean a lot. But I did say there was a chance that Ty Lue was just bluffing, playing mind games, psychological warfare. And he actually did. He doubled AD on every touch. And I thought Ty had such a great game tonight. This is why I get mad. This is why every Clipper fan gets so mad, because when you see the right 9 guys playing, obviously there's still guys that want Rocco to play, but when these 9 guys are playing, they're playing with that kind of effort, that kind of focus, that kind of pride. And yes, pride, especially on defense, going for loose balls, attention to detail for 4 quarters. I don't remember the Clippers letting it get to a 2-possession game after they took a 24-point lead. And I was nervous that they would, especially with the crowd getting loud, the Lakers side of it, more Laker fans being in the building, and they stayed with it and were able to answer every single Laker run. And that's the sign of a good team. I'm not saying that we are. I mean, I think we're a good team. I'm not going to call us a great team, though. But if we played like tonight more often, that would be a great team. It's the consistency. They always play well against the Lakers. They're always going to play hard against the Lakers, but that's not what I care about anymore. We need to see that in the playoffs. We need to see that consistently throughout the season to get good records so you're not in positions like this with 3 games left in the season. And Ty Lue coaching well. That's the last part of it. Ty Lue coaching well, having the right rotations, and also just having clever schemes. For example, Ivica Zubac wasn't even guarding AD. It was Kawhi guarding AD so they could switch the pick and roll and then double anytime AD got the ball in a mismatch. Zubac was guarding Jared Vanderbilt, so he was basically playing help side and could come double. And Vando, he was not really making the Clippers pay. I got to look at his field goal. Yeah, he was 3 for 5, but he only shot 1 3, 0 for 1. And I just wasn't worried about him. But he had 8.6 boards and was plus 12. And played 25 minutes. Some Laker fans could argue that they should have played him more, but I wasn't really worried about Vando because Zoo could just leave him all the time. And the Clippers, but I will say, to end the first quarter, when LeBron went to the bench, D'Angelo Russell started hitting jump shots, and the Lakers started getting back in it. AD started exploiting some of those mismatches on the offensive glass for some putbacks, and the Clippers started to go cold. But Kawhi Leonard hit about 3 mid-ranges in that first quarter and cut for a dunk. Had a nice, I believe it was an 8-point first quarter for the Claw with a capital LA who led by example on both ends in this game. And the Clipper bench players, the 4 guys, Norman Powell, Bones Hyland, Mason Plumlee, and Terrence Mann would check in the second quarter, and it was one of the better Terrence games in a while, and his best stretch came in the second quarter. Made an open 3, got to the basket off the catch a couple times, in transition was able to score, had a nice dunk. I forget if it was on an offensive rebound or a cut. And someone else who was awesome was Ivica Zubac all night long. And obviously when he plays well against the Lakers, it's a little extra sweet given that the great Magic Johnson had 1 assist left in him to give Ivica Zubac to us for a bag of hot Cheetos. Zoo was a beast on the offensive glass. And the thing was, Ty Lue switched up the rotation tonight. Darvin Ham, you might think as a Laker fan, Darvin Ham just got absolutely schooled tonight, but there was something that was unconventional that Ty Lue did. Usually, Kawhi and Paul George stagger, right? One is always in at all times. At times recently, it's been Russell Westbrook and Kawhi being staggered. But in this one, in the first half, it was Zoo and Kawhi being staggered. Zoo and Nico came out somewhat early in that first quarter, and in came Mason Plumlee and Norman Powell. Made me a little bit wary. But his plan was after Kawhi came out at the end of the first quarter, Zoo was going to come back in. And I thought the plan worked because then you had Ivica Zubac playing against Wenyen Gabriel and also Nico Batum back in the game with him. So you get 2 of your best defenders right back in the game. That was an interesting strategy. And it paid off because Zoo, every time he got the ball on a dump down or an offensive rebound or on a pick and roll, he was able to go into the chest of Wenyen Gabriel and jump hook him to death. And there was even one time where he was getting clearly fouled, 2 hands on the back. I forget who was guarding him, but he turned over his his right shoulder for a left-handed jump hook. That's something new that Zoo has added to the arsenal this season. And because of that, I think he should be getting at least 4 or 5 post touches a game, about 2 or 3 in this one. Not enough still. But I love that Ty Lue went with the stagger of Zoo with Kawhi because it's showing that Zoo is extremely important and giving him the respect he deserves. And Zoo in this game played 33 minutes. That's exactly the kind of minutes I want to see Zoo averaging. Especially in a season where small ball really hasn't worked for us. And Zoo, I said before the season that if he got 30 minutes a game, he would average a double-double. Well, 10.6 points and 9.9 rebounds with 2 games left. I need Zoo to average this double-double, but Ty Lue hasn't held up that end of the bargain. He's playing him 28.6 minutes a game. Early on in the season, it was at 30, and he was averaging a double-double. So, Ty Lue, shame on you for messing up Zoo's stats. But I also think it hurts the Clippers because Zoo's a beast, and Wenyen Gabriel, he had absolutely nothing for him. And Terrence Mann, I mentioned him getting out in transition and also thought it was a good defensive game for Terrence as well. The run the Clippers were making in that second quarter was when LeBron came back in. He was just stinking it up out there, throwing the ball away left and right, bricking everything, not playing D. It was ugly. Malik Beasley came in and hit 2 threes, but on defense, the Clippers did a pretty good job of putting him in the action, especially when he was switched on to Kawhi, taking advantage of that. And Dennis Schroeder had a poor game in this one. You could argue he wasn't great last night against Utah, but he had some big moments down the stretch, making shots and then defending THT. But he was just having a tough game overall. Norman Powell was overpowering him. It felt like he was just, I don't know, not as useful. I wasn't scared of him at all. And Malik Beasley and him each played 13 minutes. Malik Beasley was a minus 20. Dennis Schroeder was a minus 13. And obviously in this game, I'm looking at things from more of a Clipper fan perspective. So sorry, Laker fans, if I don't bring your side of the analysis as much in this game. It's just natural in a game like this. I'd be really focusing on my side because it's my team. But Troy Brown came in and also hit 2 threes right away late in that first quarter. That's why the Lakers cut the deficit from, I think it was Clippers were up by like 10 or 11 in that first quarter, and they cut it down to 6. But as I said, in the second quarter, guys like Terrence, Zubats, and by the way, Mason Plumlee had a jump hook over AD late in that first quarter stretch. So that was pretty impressive. But Zoo, Terrence, and Norman Powell, talk about a game for Norman Powell to have his kind of like, this was what Norman Powell was playing like before the injury, 6th man of the year type. He was incredible in this game, getting to the basket. He finally got his whistle back. For those that don't know, Norman Powell gets the best whistle of maybe any player in this city, except for Austin Reeves. Austin Reeves gets a good whistle as well. And, there's been a lot of talk about the Lakers whistle of late. They are averaging the most free throws in the league and the second lowest amount of opponent free throws allowed. They were showing that today. So especially after LeBron cried on the floor of TD Garden, the league obviously had to make some adjustments. But in this game, I don't think it was a big deal. I think it was just a basketball game being played, and the Clippers were the better team. And Norman Powell helped the Clippers be the better team, getting to the rim. Also in the pick and roll a little bit, floaters in drop coverage, hitting some runners. Russell Westbrook would come back in, hit a couple more shots. Kawhi had a couple of really nice threes, but the Lakers had a decent stretch. I remember to close the half, if I'm not mistaken, but not really. The first half was mostly all Clippers. 71-52. We led at the half in complete control. And the second half is where LeBron James woke up. LeBron started knocking down threes. And when the Lakers were getting stops, because the Clippers went cold, absolutely cold. Eric Gordon, I think he only hit those 3 threes in the beginning, and he didn't hit any after that. Yeah, he was 3 for 7 in the game, 3 for 6 from deep, which is still fine from this, big picture, especially because the Clippers won. But in that stretch, it was tough. He was cold, Nico was cold, and the Clippers were getting and Russ wasn't making shots anymore. And LeBron started making shots. And when they were getting misses, they were doing a good job of pushing the pace. LeBron was getting downhill, and it's still incredible the speed that he can pick up going downhill. It's unbelievable. And he and Kawhi, one thing I loved about that second half, they were guarding each other a lot. You love to see that. And you can tell when I always say this as a guy that I say has a PhD in LeBron, the player I've watched most in my life, was his biggest fan at one point. When he's engaged defensively, when he's starting to get physical and almost pick up fouls or pick up fouls. That's when you know he's engaged. And when you saw him guarding Kawhi and fighting over screens, you saw Kawhi couldn't really move because LeBron was fouling him, but they weren't calling. But that's okay. You want to see him get physical. That's when you know he's high effort. And Bron played really well in the second half. And still, it's amazing how he can play so garbage in the first half, play well in the second half. But obviously, you still have seen him play so much better even than that. And he can still pull off the stats. He's a stat master. But 30-22 in favor of the Lakers in the third quarter. I was getting a little bit nervous. They got it down to 9, but every time they did, Norman Powell seemed to respond. In the end of the third quarter, he was the guy that continued to make shots. Kawhi had a couple, but he started to cool down as the game went on. I still like the way he was defending, though. Active hands, rebounding, playing good defense. And everyone, I mean, Terrence Mann had one of his better defensive games in so long because the Lakers, Dennis Schroeder is a quicker guard, but Austin Reeves, LeBron, even at this age, LeBron, Austin Reeves, D'Lo, they're not super speedy getting over, coming off screens. And Terrence Mann, when the guys are not super speedy, he does a good job of being able to use his length to get over screens and at least try to get back in their, in their rear view or get back in front of them. And he was doing a really good job, including Nico Batum, getting over screens and taking away a lot of making D'Angelo Russell see someone, behind him, or just knowing he didn't have a clear-cut open shot. And I also think our doubles on AD were really good and our rotating off of them. We didn't concede too many wide open threes to Anthony Davis with the double team. And the Lakers, that being said, they still shot pretty well from three, 12 for 29 from deep in the game, 40. That's 41.4%. Clippers, though, shot even better, 16 for 36 from deep, 44.4%. from deep. We'll take that all day. And as I said, the Clipper role players shooting well from three was going to be big, and they did. As far as free throws, Lakers 16 for 24, so 66.7%. I was very comfortable with a lot of their guys going to the line. Dennis Schroeder, 0 for 2. LeBron James, 3 for 5. Anthony Davis only missed 1, 3 for 4. That's about standard. Jared Vanderbilt, 2 for 4. The Clippers, Norman Powell was 10 for 10. That was really clutch. And Zoo was 5 for 6, and Zoo's really been struggling from the line lately. So big time in that respect, but I was getting nervous in the fourth quarter with LeBron starting to play well. And, D'Lo was making some shots. And AD, that's what was really getting me nervous, was that Anthony Davis was starting to hit his mid-range. So I was starting to get a little scared, but I got to give the biggest credit to the Clipper bench and also Ty Lue. He didn't go back to Russ. He rode with the guys that were having a good game. And Mason Plumlee, for example, you might not see it really in the stat sheet, but he had a really solid 14 minutes in this game. He had a couple, I think there were 1 or 2 shots he deterred at the rim well. And that's one thing we've been critical of with Mason. He's got to do a better job deterring shots. He's got to contest shots. He's got to actually get off the ground. There was one really notable contest in the second half at the rim. I don't remember if it was AD or someone else, but the miss was due to Mason Plumlee contesting. He had a couple of rebounds and finished at the rim for 2 buckets on 2 shot attempts. The second one was a beautiful up fake, got AD in the air, 1 dribble, turned around for a dunk, big-time momentum play. And as I said, made shots are not always the same as made shots. 2 points is not always the same as 2 points. A dunk is big for momentum. When you have a crowd, that matters. And the Clippers started to string together stops, and I got to give a credit to the man who came through in the fourth. Busy. Can't you see? Bones Hyland. He was hitting the 3-ball. 3 threes in the fourth to be exact. Also was able to get to the bucket, make plays, some really nice passes. Kawhi also played the entire second half. And so Ty Lue really put the trust in Kawhi. He was not playing around. He played 43 minutes in the game, which was obviously more than anybody. The second most was D'Angelo Russell with 40. But Bones Hyland, right when the Clippers needed him, he came through. 14 points for Bones. All of those coming in the fourth quarter. He was 4 for 7 from the field, 3 for 6 from deep, and got to the line for 4 free throw attempts, made 3 of them. He also had 4 assists to go along with his 14 points. At the end, he was bleeding some points a little bit, which was natural, but that was a pseudo run by the Lakers. It was nothing that was actually scaring the Clippers at all. I was pretty comfortable towards the end. Even though I'm a Clipper fan, I was still pretty comfortable towards the end. The game plan worked. The Clippers just played really well. Norman Powell seemed to – I don't know. Who's your player of the game? That's my comment today, because I thought It could be any one of Kawhi, Bones, or Norm, but I'm probably going to go with Norm. It felt like he just hit big shot after big shot, got to the line when we needed it, and I mean, making all his free throws, and also was able to hit a big mid-range coming off a screen later in the game in the fourth quarter. And I'm trying to think if he hit a three. Let's look. 1-3, but it was a big one. Let's read the lines. Clippers win it 125-118, get a big win in what I believe was the biggest Laker-Clipper game ever. Now we're basically ensured a playoff spot, but it's looking like we could get Phoenix. However, I am not going to be talking about a playoff series until it is confirmed. So for all those questions, I am saving that for the live chat portion of this video. I'm not going to answer it on the actual podcast version because I could go all day talking about that stuff. Clearly, I've mentioned many times I don't want to play Phoenix, but I'm okay with the Clippers just trying to win these final two games because you play who you play. You don't duck teams. You want to win a championship. Now, I've been saying I don't think we're going to win a championship this year. I said we had to get a top 3 seed, and we didn't. We didn't even get home court advantage. I don't think we're going to win. We also don't have Paul George. But who knows? I'm going to be at the games cheering my ass off. We just need to clinch that damn thing. Let's read the lines. And by the way, the Lakers are going to probably play in the play-in now. But honestly, the Lakers just wanted to make the play-in after last season and after being 2-10. I think it's okay. It's a bad loss, but it is what it is. The Lakers played a 10-man rotation, which you can maybe say was questionable. Malik Beasley, as I said, played 13 minutes, 7 points on 3 for 4 shooting. I think that's fine for him to play 13 minutes personally. If you disagree, let me know. Dennis Schroeder played way less minutes than usual, so you can't complain about Dennis minutes, I don't think, in this one. 2 points, 4 assists on 1 for 6 shooting and 0 for 1 from deep, 0 for 2 from the line. It's just not a good night for Dennis at all in 13 minutes of play. Troy Brown, maybe you could argue he should have played more. I mean, he was 2 for 4 from deep. There was a play where he tried to cut to the basket. LeBron wanted him to stay in the corner, and he was really upset with him on that one. Troy tried to cut. Wasn't a well-timed cut. He should have stayed in the corner. Just a miscommunication. LeBron wasn't having it. 6 points for Troy Brown. Those were the only 2 threes he made. Were the only points he had. Well, Gabriel got dominated. But again, as I said, Coach Lou threw a curveball in there. He had Zubac staggered with Kawhi. Usually, Zubac will come out around the 3-minute mark of the first quarter. And that would usually when Wayne was playing, that's when Mason would be playing. So having Zoo there, it was unforeseen, I believe. It just didn't match up with AD's minutes. He didn't play AD the whole game. AD played 32 minutes in this game, but we'll get into AD in a second. Wenyen Gabriel, 6 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. He was 3 for 6 from the field. And honestly, I don't think Wenyen Gabriel should shoot threes at all. He's not a good 3-point shooter. 0 for 2 from deep. We were super comfortable with those and just let him shoot them. Yeah, 29.4% from 3. As Charles Barkley says, not everybody got to be shooting these threes. Rui Hachimura has been playing really well lately. Not great in this one. I love that we kept him in check. I think our length bothered him. I think almost all of his shots, if I can remember, I'm not sure, but from the top of my head, a lot of his shots were contested by guys like Nico, guys like Kawhi. And when those guys are contesting shots, man, I haven't played against them before, obviously, but just based on seeing what everybody does, meaning misses, and how long their arms are, you can kind of, get the point. Rui Hachimura, only 4 points on 1 of 5 shooting. The Lakers bench got absolutely destroyed in this one. The Lakers, by the way, outscored the Clippers in both quarters in the second half, 30-22 in the third and 36-32 in the fourth, but they never got it within, I don't think they even got it within 8. I'm going to have to check that right now. They got it to 9, I remember, and that's when I got a little bit nervous. But we did a really good job of just keeping on and pushing that lead up. It wasn't single digits at any point of the fourth quarter. We got it to 11 going into the fourth. I kept saying, as long as we keep it at double digits, we'll be fine. And we did exactly that. The Lakers, the closest they got it was 90-103, and we called a timeout with 8:40 left. Nico came in for Terrence. Zoo came in for Mason, and we restored order. Bones hit a huge 3 coming off that timeout, and it just felt big time. He also had a lob to Zoo that was absolutely beautiful. So Bones Hyland was just awesome. But going back to the Lakers, the bench, that's what my opinion was of the difference in the game. And by the way, Mo Bamba was back. So some Laker fans wanted to play him instead of Wenyen. I think Mo Bamba is terrible, personally. I haven't seen nothing from him to garner that I think that he's a decent basketball player in the NBA level. Wenyen Gabriel, he plays really hard. And I think he may be better on the rim than Mo Bamba. I think Mo Bamba's just bigger on defense, and I think he may have stood a better chance against Zoo, possibly. But Laker bench, a total of 25 points between the 5 players, so 5 each. Not good. Jared Vanderbilt played 25 minutes in this game. You could argue he should have played more because I think he did the best job on Kawhi, but we were just going to get a screen to get him off of him. 8 points, 6 rebounds for Vando. He was a plus 12, which is the highest of any Laker. 3 of 5 from the field, only 1 3-point attempt and missed it. 2 of 4 from the line. That was his game. Austin Reeves, I thought we did such a solid job on him. Even though he had 20 points, it just felt like he was kept in check. He's been killing teams lately. So to keep him away from the foul line, only 5 free throw attempts, I'll take that all day. But 20 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 turnovers for Austin Reeves, 6 for 11 from the field, 3 for 6 from deep, and 5 of 5 from the line. Those stats look really good. But you let me know, Lakers fans, if you thought he was good. Because defensively, I didn't really notice him. So let me know. He was actually the second leading scorer for the Lakers in this one. D'Angelo Russell played well in the beginning, but he kind of cooled down. 15 points, 3 boards, 7 dimes, only 1 turnover for D'Lo, so good in that respect. He was a plus 8, 6 for 13 from the field, 2 for 6 from deep. Let me know how you thought he played, Laker fans. 40 minutes, led the Lakers in minutes in this one. AD, what I was saying last night when I said he should shoot over the double teams or before it comes, that's what he was starting to do in the third quarter. I think he's got to do a little bit more of that, personally. 17 points, 11 boards for AD, 3 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks. He did not have the same kind of effectiveness defensively in this game as he normally does, and that came from Kawhi's mid-range and the Clippers making threes. I said that last night. They did exactly that. 17 points, 11 boards, 3 assists, a steal, and 2 blocks for AD on 50% shooting, 7 for 14 from the field. Again, I really like that he's not shooting threes as much this season. Only 1 3-point attempt. It didn't go in. He was 3 of 4 from the line in 32 minutes. He would probably usually play more than that, but because of the back-to-back, I understand him playing only 32 minutes. And then LeBron, who probably overall was the best Laker because of his second half, 33 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, a steal and a block, 6 turnovers, though. He was a minus 10 in the plus-minus, but take that for what it's worth. Single game plus-minus is bullshit. 13 for 20 from the field. That is 52%, if my math serves me correctly. No, 65%, isn't it? Wow. He's an impressive player. He's an absolutely impressive player. 4 for 6 from deep in the end for LeBron. 3 of 5 from the line. And now for the winning team. First, I'm actually going to look at some team stats, see if anything pops out. Lakers shot 50.6%. Clippers shot 52.4%. Free throw percentage pops out. 85.2% for the Clips, 66.7% for the Lakers. Lakers did get 5 more offensive rebounds in this game. But, yeah, nothing too crazy. Largest lead of the game for the Lakers was 1. Largest for the Clippers, 24. Big time. Let's read the lines. For the 9-man rotation of the LA Clippers, the lowest played one was Mason Plumlee, but I liked his performance. 4 points, 3 boards, 2 of 2 in 14 minutes. The only thing I didn't like was at the end of the third quarter when instead of throwing the ball ahead when we had 5 seconds left, he thought he was magic and wanted to bring the ball up and do some nonsense. The second lowest played player in the game for the Clippers was Terrence Mann, who I thought was awesome. 10 points, 3 boards, 2 assists, great defense. We haven't had a great T-man defense game in a while. I really liked it in this one. 4 of 5 from the field, so 80%, and made both of his threes in 19 minutes. Great game for Terrence. Clippers had 6 players in double figures out of the 9 that played. The guy who played the third least minutes, Russell Westbrook, didn't play after the beginning stint of that third quarter. It was the right decision by Ty Lue, but he was still super animated on the bench, and he has just been a professional in every sense since he got here. I am loving the Russell Westbrook experience so far. And yes, you can say I was wrong, but I'm more concerned about what's to come, and that's the playoffs. But if Ty Lue manages him like this, I think that it will I'll definitely take my L, because that would mean that Russ won't care. 14 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal and a block. The block came right in the beginning of the game, chasing Austin Reeves over a screen. I thought Russ's defense was so solid tonight, except for when he was switched on AD. He wasn't even trying to go for a rebound. But I loved his activity, his hustle. He wanted this. And Russ, honestly, has been pretty decent defensively for the Clippers. He's been better overall just in every facet for us. And the next player, Bones Hyland, played 21 minutes, was awesome, especially in that fourth quarter when we needed him. 14 points, 2 boards, 4 assists on 4 for 7 from the field, 3 for 6 from deep, 3 of 4 from the line. He was a +6. He was awesome. Next, we have Eric Gordon, who cooled down as the game went on, but he did his job. I thought he was engaged defensively as well. Nobody played badly, in my opinion, for the Clippers. Nobody. 9 points, 3 boards, 3 assists, and a steal on 3 for 7 shooting and 3 for 6 from deep for EJ. And then we go to Nico, who played 30 minutes. And as I said, only 5 points, 2 rebounds, and 2 steals and a block, but no turnovers. He was a +13, which was the highest of any Clipper. So again, it's not coincidence. He plays great defense, great contests, just awesome. 1 for 7. All of his shots were threes in 30 minutes, but he was pivotal to this win. And I love when Nico starts, because it's just such a difference from Marcus Morris. If we had done this earlier, we would have a lot more wins. I can promise you that. Ivica Zubac comes next with 33 minutes. He was phenomenal. 17 points, 13 rebounds, 4 offensive rebounds, 2 steals, 1 block, 6 for 10 from the field, and 5 for 6 from the line. He was aggressive. He got key offensive rebounds. He played good defense. Just really good, and Ty Lue made him better tonight. Having him as the help defender was a great strategy, and staggering him with Kawhi, giving him the 33 minutes he deserved. He played great against his former team. Such a good performance from Zoo. I'm sorry for sleeping, Zoo. If somebody says he's the player of the game, I got no problems with that either. And then the man who, in my opinion, was my player of the game, Norman Powell. 27 points, 4 assists, 2 steals. I also want to give Norman a shout out for his defense. One of his best defensive games of the season. In the first quarter alone, he got 3 stops just guarding one-on-one. One was a block. I think it was on Dennis Schroeder. He was strong. He was active. So determined, Norman Powell tonight. 27 points, 4 assists, 2 steals, and a block. 8 for 15 from the field. 1 for 4 from deep, so it's still taking time for his 3-ball to come back. But 10 for 10 from the line. Absolutely massive. And then Kawhi, the main man, played the whole second half. And the Lakers started doubling him and hedging hard on the screens and getting the ball out of his hands, and he was making the right plays, letting other guys eat. 25 points, 7 boards, 4 assists for the Claw with a capital LA. 9 for 17 from the field, 4 for 7 from deep. And one of those step backs over Troy Brown in the first half in front of the Clipper bench, was beautiful. 3 for 4 from the line. Really solid game for Kawhi. The Clippers move on to 42-38. They tie the Warriors now, and we do have the tiebreaker over the Warriors with a division record, and we clinched a better division record than them. So we have the tiebreaker now over both, which is why people are saying that we're going to play Phoenix. The Lakers dropped to 41-39. And by the way, the Dallas Mavericks, with a huge win against the Kings tonight, stay in the mix. They now have the same record as the Thunder, but as I mentioned in previous episodes, they don't have as good of a record. So they need the Thunder to lose one more, and they need to win their last 2 games. The Clippers currently stand in 5th with 2 games remaining, one against the Blazers that I will be attending, the last home game, and then a back-to-back. So will Kawhi play against the Phoenix Suns, who have the clinched 4th seed, but haven't seen KD and Booker and all them play too much together? They haven't lost with him. We'll see. Decisions are to be made. But that's it for me tonight, guys. The Denver Nuggets, by the way, have clinched the number 1 seed. I want to congratulate them. I'm pretty sure this is the first time they've ever done it. So, I mean, it's get to the finals or bust for Denver. I want to say championship or bust because you just don't know how many times these opportunities are going to come come across. These opportunities are going to arise for you. Arrive for you. I just didn't even know what the fuck I'm saying. I've been talking too long now. Arrive for you, but it's get to the championship or bust, in my opinion, for Denver. And then I think Sacramento and Memphis, I'm not sure who has the tiebreaker there, but they can still, if Memphis loses their last 2 games and Sacramento wins their last 2 games, they will both be 50 and 32, and I don't know who has the tiebreaker. But the Suns are clinched for 4th. We'll see what happens. The Lakers are now in 7th, tied with the Pelicans, and have the tiebreaker. So we'll see what happens there. It's pretty much confirmed, I think, that the Wolves will probably be the 9th seed. So they will likely be hosting the first play-in game. That's it for me, though, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. That's the end of the podcast version of it. Make sure to leave me a review on Apple Podcasts if you'd like. Now we're going to go to the live subscribers waiting patiently in the chat. Super chats are turned on if you want to drop $1 or a dime for your boy. Any donation helps. Peace. Go Clippers. Big win. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Let's see what everybody's saying, man.